Today, I want to go over the draft from Game 1 between T1 and Kwangdong Freaks this morning. It was an interesting one, and we got to see a couple new picks, which was especially refreshing. Let's take a look. Also, 55% of you are subscribed. Hit that subscribe button, it really helps out the channel. T1 started out with Aatrox's first pick, which is very new. Honestly, I think T1 is pretty ahead of the metagame here. Aatrox did receive some buffs on 13-14, and I've seen him tearing up solo queue recently, so he looks to be a new top lane power pick. Really nice to see a fresh pick, and especially on V1, so we'll see if it's worth the prio pick. Kwangdong answered with Renekton and Rell, which at the very least is on theme with mid-game dive and teamfight. I'm not sure how the Renekton into Aatrox matchup goes, but Aatrox will definitely outscale him. Obviously still not a fan of the Renekton in general, but not an awful rotation from KDF. T1 second rotate Jayce and Maokai, the premier mid-jungle duo at the moment. Super strong in all phases of the game. It's also strong against the dive from KDF, as Jayce and Maokai can play well with range and disengage around objective fights. KDF then finished first phase with Kai'Sa, which is solid. I like the double flex pick from Kwangdong here with Kai'Sa and Rell. It definitely provides a solid advantage for KDF, having T1 not know where two champs are going. Through the first pick phase, however, it's honestly pretty even. T1 have better scaling, but KDF have multiple flex options, so the remainder of the draft will be easy for them to play out. I will say Kwangdong is a bit off theme with a potential poke Kai'Sa build, but if she goes typical marksman build and dives with her ult, that would function much better with Rell and Renekton. Now R4 is where things get a little sketchy for the KDF comp. They lock in Xerath, which I will say firstly is awesome. I love to see new picks that aren't picked very often. However, this causes a big difference in comp themes. As previously mentioned, Rell and Renekton want to dive backline, while now Kai'Sa and Xerath want to play with range and poke around objectives. This will create inherent dysfunction in how Kwangdong approach mid and late game situations because their champs want to do different things inside the game. T1 round out with Zeri and Rakan for bot lane duo. I'm not a huge fan of this rotation because Zeri is best paired with an enchanter. T1's comp, however, is pretty on theme here as they can play with hard engage and dive teamfights. This is why champions like Zeri, Jayce, and Maokai are good because they have multiple modes inside the game. They can do more than just one thing, as opposed to a champ like Renekton or Rell, who can really only play for dive. Anyways, Kwangdong R5 counter with Nautilus, which does well in lane against Rakan, and pairs well with Kai'Sa in the lane. I can't stress it enough though, Renekton and Rell and Nautilus want to hard engage and play for teamfights, while Kai'Sa and Xerath want to sit back and poke. It's going to be very difficult for KDF to play around objectives, while T1 can really easily send Maokai ult and run face first into them, which Kwangdong really don't have any counterplay to. Overall, a really interesting draft, and we got to see some new picks. I would heavily favor T1 here because their comp is relatively on theme and much easier to execute than Kwangdong's. Looks like T1 got their drafting mojo back with Faker's return, and with a quick 23-minute victory in this game, they may be surging towards playoffs. Thanks for watching, see you next time.